Well, this is a training video for the inner peace process put on by the Institute for the Study of Peak States. And for the audience watching this video, welcome to Victoria, British Columbia. We have a group of volunteers here who have kindly consented to run the process so that the people watching this video can see the results and see some of the things that can happen when you run through the process. So before I go any further, I'd just like to give an outline of the video. Thanks. So again, the purpose of this video is to let people at home run through this process and able to watch you and actually do it right on the spot. The other thing I'm going to be talking about is peak states, which I just covered briefly. The inner peace state, which I've just talked about. Emotional freedom technique, whose initials are EFT. And we'll be using that to get to the state that we want to use. We'll be covering the process in detail, and we'll be also looking at you for the results of the process. For people who are watching the video, you can skip forward to where the process is actually started if you wish. This beginning introductory piece is just describing what peak states are about and what we'll be doing. For those of you who are unfamiliar with what we're doing, the Institute for the Study of Peak States was formed a number of years ago to investigate really fundamental questions about human beings and how they live their lives. We discovered over the years that there are people who are alive who have a normal life and then can suddenly move into a state of being where life is much better than normal. Or they might have been born that way. In fact, if you think about it, you probably think of people in your life that seem to have exceptional lives. They seem to be happy all the time. They seem to be calm all the time. Things just work well for them. Everything's effortless, sort of like that. For the vast majority of people, however, that's not the case. What we found in our work is that there are a variety of ways of being that people can have. And so far we've identified 15 major ones, and you can either have them individually or in combination. Today we'll be running you through a process that should give you, that will give a significant number of you, I should say, one of the states. This particular state we call the inner peace state, all right? And it's a relatively easy state to get into, and it's a relatively minor state in that it doesn't change your life too dramatically. There are states where if we run you through the process, it would be a big change in your life, and maybe too big. It would be hard for you to just feel comfortable leaving this workshop and being in those states without some prior knowledge of what you were going to experience. This particular state is quite interesting because it puts you in the present. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, we all think we're in the present here in this room, right? We're in a yurt, it's raining outside. You can look around and see the people you're sitting with. The truth is that most people are not really emotionally in the present. What I mean by that is even though that it looks like we're here in this room, our responses to what's happening around us are being fed to us from trauma in the past. Okay? And you know that colloquially we call it overreacting. Have you seen people that you push their buttons and they overreact and it's just totally out of proportion to the present, right? That's because they're really not in the present. It's just like all of us, or almost all of us, are just sort of like walking around ready for something in our past to be triggered and to have it come up into the present. And you can see it because it feels out of proportion to what's happening. All right? That's what I should call normal or average consciousness. Some of you in this room, I'm sure, have a state of consciousness where you really are in the present. And then for you, this particular process is going to be a waste of time because you already have this particular state. Okay? But for most people, we're just used to average consciousness where someone will say something and we'll react. Okay? Now, when you get into this particular state of consciousness that we're working with, your past is the past. And when you think about it, it has no more emotional pain. The reason for that is your past is still there, but you're firmly anchored in the present. And the present doesn't have that emotional content. Okay. There's in this particular state, I'm going to review again. When you get into the present, when you think about your past, it has no emotional content. Now that's an unusual state for most people. So that means that when your spouse yelled at you yesterday, or your mother died, or you were hit by the car, or whatever that's going on in your past, when you think about it, it has no emotional pain anymore. Now, some people actually have that experience of having no emotional pain, but it's because they repress really, really well. So they're sort of pushing out all of that stuff out of their life. But those particular people have an experience of not being able to feel very well, but it also feels very heavy. It's like they're weighted down, you know. They're pushing it away. When you're actually in the present, you feel sort of light. And when you think about the past, it just has no emotional content. Let me give you an example. The creator of this process, emotional freedom technique, Gary Craig, tends to live in that present state most of the time. I asked him about his life, and he said, well, it was no big deal. You know, I had a fine childhood. But then when I started to grill him, you know, he had several divorces, people died, it just went on and on and on. And you go, how could that possibly be described as something that doesn't have a lot of content to it? Well, it's because he was in this particular state of consciousness where he was firmly in the present. There's even a book that talks about that sort of thing. It's called The Power of Now. Have any of you heard about it? Yeah. He describes more than just being in the present, but he gives a good description of what the present is like. Okay? So I'm just curious for a moment, how many of you, when you think about your past, don't have any emotional content? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, unfortunately for you, this may be a waste of time workshop. The good news, though, is when you leave here, you'll be able to do it to your friends and family. So that's a plus. For those of you who raised your hand, is that lack of emotional content in the past accompanied by a heavy feeling or a light feeling? Light? Light? Okay. Good. Well, that's actually more than average, which I find quite remarkable. We're finding, we believe at the present time, that about 7% of the population have that sort of being in the present state. Maybe 7 to 10%, somewhere in there. So this room is running higher than the average. Congratulations. Of those, just out of curiosity, of those of you who raised your hand, did you always have that? No. Oh, how fascinating. Okay. Interesting. In my particular case, I had that basically from babyhood. So I just considered it normal. And then you'll find your neighbors who actually might have that particular state also don't realize they're different than anyone else, simply because to them it's always been that way. They just sort of assume that other people are like that too. Although at times they wonder exactly what's going on with other people when they overreact. Certainly that was my experience as a young man. All right, so the work that the Institute's been doing in this peak states of consciousness stuff is actually considered quite controversial in the field. Because normal psychology, and even sort of New Age psychology or religious spiritual practice, tends to think that you have to work to get your state. And in the case of the people that raised their hand, that was some truth in that, correct? But the fact that there are a lot of people out there that have these states from birth is not well known, if at all. It doesn't seem to fit the model, I think partly because we have a kind of a Puritan background where you sort of have to work hard to get what you get. And Also because there's this sort of idea that we need to be really, really good to get something good. And maybe God has to come down and whack us on the head or something to have that happen. So the people that actually have it from birth are sort of an anomaly. It's been discovered in psychology that they exist because there's a whole group of these people that they found when they were doing studies on kids who are at risk for really terrible, because of terrible childhoods. They figured that these people would be just basically, when they grew up, would be a complete and utter mess. What they found was that there was a whole chunk of them that were perfectly fine, no matter how bad their childhood was. And that's because they were living in these states of consciousness that were so remarkable. They ended up calling them invulnerable children, because no matter what rotten thing you did to them, they still came out okay. But at any rate, so the model right now in psychology is that people have a certain amount of pain that they had in their childhood, and then when you're grown up, you sort of have to live with it. Or if you're really, really lucky, you manage to heal it in some way and you sort of approach normal. Okay? For the people who actually are working with spiritual practices, they sort of assume that you're normal to start with, and then if you do these practices, whatever they may be, Sufi, Buddhist, whatever, contemplative in the Christian tradition, that if you work really hard, you'll move up sort of in an ascending ladder of spirituality. Do you have that experience? That's what the idea is, I think, in most of these traditions. Okay. However, have any of you ever noticed that each of the traditions can't agree on where you're going to go? If you really look into the traditions, you'll find that the sort of the target place that they're shooting for, although they may give it the same label, is quite different from group to group. And one of the reasons for that we've discovered is that there are a lot of places you can go with this work. There are a lot of states of consciousness that you can have. And one particular group might have a market on one of the states, and another group might, claim that as their special state, and another group. And so you find that when you go sampling from group to group to group, they're quite different. And it's quite confusing because they don't really know this. So when you come to them, they say, this is it. The rest are like, ignore the people behind the screen. They're just sort of fake salesmen. Have you had that experience? I certainly did. So what we have discovered is that there's a bunch of states. And if you think of them almost like marbles, you can collect these marbles depending on the different practices you do and depending on your past history. A lot of the past history being in utero. So far, so good? Do you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Okay. So the next thing that we discovered in this work was that people had basically all of the peak states of consciousness that were possible in utero. So while you were in your mother's womb, you actually had all of the states that after you're born, you work so hard to get back. Except you don't realize you're trying to get them back. You think you're moving on or expanding or growing or something like that. Okay? This is very controversial. Yeah?
What about if you're premature?
You still had it in utero. Okay? What happens, and this is quite fascinating, is you had the states in utero, and then when you're born, you tend to lose them. Okay, there's some people that get through the birth process and they maintain one or another or even a couple of the states. But for the vast majority of people, they lose the states at birth. Okay? So today, we're not trying to give you all of the marbles, all of the possible states. You would find life so drastically different that it would be too much. Instead, what we're just focusing on is bringing you into the present. Okay? Again, when you're in the present, your past emotional material just goes away. It's still there in the past, but while you're anchored in the present, you'll find that stuff just doesn't bother you anymore. So we're very excited about this particular process because we've made it very easy so that you can basically do it to anybody. It's very safe. It doesn't always work, however. There's a percentage of the people that we can't help with this. And it's fairly stable. So you only need to do this process once, and you tend to stay in the state, which is really nice. It's almost like being only have to shower once and never have to shower again. Okay? And some of you, however, will move out of the state or in and out, and we'll show you, I'll show you what you need to do to stay in the state more continuously So there'll be sort of a range of things. Some of you will be just anchored in the present, okay, some big percentage of you. And then there'll be another percentage of you that move in and out of the state, sort of naturally. And then there'll be another percentage of you that need a little extra work to be able to stay in the state. And then there'll be some of you that we can't help with getting into that state with this very simple process. Is that clear? Great. Now, if you're watching this video, you might be thinking, or even you in the audience, is this going to help me? Well, it may or may not, but if you have 5 friends, it's probably going to help 3 of them. So those are good odds, especially if you only have to do it once. So that's why we're really excited about this process. And if you've had a really horrible life or a really great life, we found that it sort of doesn't matter. The thing that makes the difference is sort of irrelevant as far as the content of your life goes. Okay? So this is exciting because this is a big change in the way psychology is thought about. If you can do this process to someone who's really struggling and going to a therapist and trying to be healed, and suddenly they pop into the present, it's going to have a huge impact on their lives. Huge. Because they won't be able to go into the office and tell their story anymore. Right? Because it'll just be like telling about, well, the capital of Florida is, I don't know, whatever it is, and the capital of Saskatchewan is blah, 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 and 3 times 6 is 12, and about as interesting as that. Okay? So that is a big, big deal. And that's why we're really excited about this process. We hope that by presenting this on video, as well as getting our work out, that other smart people will take it and make it more effective. Okay? Just even understanding that their states of consciousness is a huge thing. And when they have a process they can use to demonstrate that principle, I mean, who knows where it'll go. Or maybe even you guys. I mean, there's a lot of bright people out there. Once they realize what they're trying to do, you know, look at the computers today. You just don't know what's going to happen. So I want to go into it on this pegboard so that we can really get it brought down. So what do you need to do this process? Okay? What's that?
Willingness.
Yeah, there's that. She said willingness. For one thing, if you don't believe it's going to work, or your religious convictions are that you can't do something like that, it's pretty hopeless. Okay? The good news is you don't need to believe that it will work to have it work. Okay? That's good. Okay, so what do you need? First, you need to have a copy of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony.
The Emperor?
I don't know. I don't think so.
There are 2 fifths, I think.
Fifth Symphony. Okay? And we'll be providing that today. You need some time. Figure about 1 hour. Okay? Now, some people might need as much as 2. Okay? Let's see. You need to know enough about emotional freedom techniques so that you can do the process. That's known as EFT in the trade. And you can get it for free from www.emofree.com. Okay? And you need one other thing. You need to write down some traumas. Okay? So that's basically all you need. It's a really simple process. Extremely simple. Okay? There's one other thing that we've discovered recently that helps. If for some reason the process isn't working for you directly, if you add 2 essential oils to meridian points, it does seem to bring up another percentage, good percentage of the population into the state. They are spearmint and juniper. Now I actually have a couple of, what are they, Young Living oils here, but I suppose it probably works with most. Okay, so again, juniper berry, or just juniper, and spearmint added together. Okay, So we'll be demonstrating that in the process for those of you who are having troubles moving into the state. Okay, is that clear? This and a slightly improved version of this particular state, called the walking in beauty, or the beauty way, was the first state that we actually discovered what the cause was for losing it. Okay. It turns out that there are certain developmental stages that are absolutely critical to maintaining the state after you're born. Okay? There's another way actually to fix the problem, but just for a moment, imagine that there are certain moments when you were in your mother's womb that you have to do without trauma so that after you're born you'll have the state. Does that make sense? Just automatically, that is. I mean, you can still do those processes that these different people seem to have acquired the state with. Okay? It turns out that this particular state of being in the present, for most people, means that you have to have been conceived the moment where the egg and the sperm come together, a certain moment in there, you have to have been conceived without trauma. Does that make sense? Okay. So if you can actually go back and heal your conception, you tend to find that you'll pop into a really good state that we call walking in beauty. You'll be firmly in the present, and you have a bunch of other characteristics too. Okay. Well, that's all well and good, but how many of us remember our conception? Okay. Not very many. There are techniques that will allow you to be taken there, but you generally have to pay a lot of money to somebody who is really pushing the frontiers of the field to help you do it, and then the success is not certain. Okay? In a setting like this, it would be impossible. It's basically a one-on-one kind of process, right? Okay. By the way, I'd like to say to the folks in the audience and the television, Wes Geets and myself, Wes is the founder of Windwalker, up here in British Columbia. He is the one who originally discovered where that particular developmental stage was that gave this particular state, and I want to give him the credit on that. Okay. So for a while when we were doing this work, we found that if you fix this state, if you fix this particular developmental trauma of conception, you got the state. But it was hard to do, so about a couple, 3 or 4 months later, we came up with another solution. Okay? And I'm sure there's other ways to do it that we haven't thought of. What we found was that there was a relatively new healing process called emotional freedom technique that would relieve trauma symptoms without requiring you to remember where the origin of the trauma symptoms was. Okay? We also found that one of the states of consciousness that people had that they lost was awareness of the planetary consciousness. We call it Gaia. It turns out that in utero, actually our whole lives, but especially in utero, when you hit one of these developmental stages, the planetary consciousness, which is huge, gives you extremely precise directions on what you're supposed to do. Okay? Unfortunately, not all of us can follow those instructions correctly, and trauma results. It turns out that the moment that this particular inner peace process state occurs, there is a phrase that you can translate into English, okay, that the planetary consciousness is telling you what to do. Okay? Now, what we discovered, and this was an incredible moment. I still remember when I had the idea. We discovered that if you use the phrase and start using this emotional freedom technique, the trauma just comes up into the present. Okay? So we don't actually have to take you to your conception. We can do it right here in this room by simply using a phrase and this psychological healing technique. So that was the first version. But what we found is that it wasn't quite good enough. Okay? It didn't work on enough people. It turns out that at a spiritual level, during your conception, at that particular moment, you can imagine that there's a kind of a music that occurs. And some of you will probably be able to hear that music. Well, it turns out that I'm not a musician. But Beethoven's Fifth sort of gives you the right flavor. Okay? There's other music that's better, but this was easy to get. Everybody can get a copy of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. Okay? When we add the music, to the phrase and the emotional freedom technique, the effectiveness goes up considerably. Okay, how to do the process. This is how it goes. It's really simple. We turn on the music, and I'll be leading you through the process. You're going to be saying this phrase over and over and over. So every time, and this particular process, this emotional freedom technique involves tapping yourself on meridian points. How many of you here know it? Okay, great. So how many of you have heard about acupuncture? You know, that's where they stick the needles in your body. This is a sort of a painless way to do an equivalent of acupuncture. Okay, so you have to kind of know where you're going to tap, which is an equivalent of putting the needle in. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing is have you tap while you say the phrase. Here's the phrase: join forces in glory. Okay. Join forces in glory. Okay? All right. You're going to say that phrase every time you tap yourself. So let me list the points for you. The first one is your eyebrow. And for this, do you want to do a close-up? Okay. The first point is right at the beginning of your eyebrow. So if you're going to pluck your eyebrow, that's where you'd start with that.
Matter which one?
Nope. Either one is fine. So it's either that one or that one. The second one is at the corner of your eye on the bone. Right there. So why don't you just touch so I can make sure that you're getting the right spot.
Could you show me this?
Sure.
Here, all right. Thank
Right on the corner of the eye.
Thank you.
The next one is right under the eye on the bone. Okay? And I tend to use 2 fingers when I tap these points because it's a little bit like horseshoes and hand grenades. If you use 2 fingers, you can't possibly miss. Okay? The next point is under the nose.
2 fingers?
Yeah, it's safer that way. Okay? There's more chances you'll hit the spot. The next one is just above the chin in the dip. Okay? The next one, if you feel your throat, you can feel the hollow, right? There's a hollow and there's bones on either side. There's a pointy bone that points up on this side and this side. It's right beneath the pointy bone. So what I do is I take the flat of my hand and I tap on the pointy bone and the area just below it. So let's see. You know the pointy bone I'm talking about? It's where your tendon comes in? Yeah.
Collarbone.
Collarbone, where the collarbone comes in. So you can feel that, right? Right where the hollow of your throat is. Okay. Let me just see. Everybody got it? Okay. The next point is under your arm, on the side here, even with the bra strap or the nipple. Okay, and just use your whole hand. It's easy that way.
We're not actually doing this right now, right?
No, we're just getting the points. Yeah. The next one, a batch of points, stick one of your hands out, and it's going to be right at the base of the nail, at the edge of the finger. Okay? So right down there at the top. And if you kind of move your finger around, you can feel a little dip right where the base of the nail is. Yeah, it's right there.
Can I just check with you?
Okay?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Stick your hand out.
Here?
Yep,
Okay. Thank you.
right there. Okay, so what do they call that in? Is that the cuticle?
Yeah.
Yeah, right where the cuticle edge is, right in the corner. Okay? The next point is the same spot on the next finger. Okay? The next point is the same spot on the next finger. Now we skip the ring finger, but it doesn't hurt anything if you tap there. Like if you forget, it just makes you look like you're not an expert. Well, that's okay. Okay, so skip that one. The next one is the pinky. And the last point is the karate chop point. So if you were breaking bricks, that's where you'd be hidden. Make sense? Or she could do it like that if you want.
Are these points on that website?
Yes, on the emofree.com website. Right.
And do they have to go in a certain sequence?
No. But it turns out that we tend to go in this pattern just so we don't skip any? Yeah. And it doesn't matter if it's left or right. You can move around. You can go from this side of the face to this side of the face. And in fact, I recommend it because we'll be doing it enough time so that you might get tired of whacking the same spot all the time. And you want a different spot to whack on. Okay? Be gentle with yourself. You don't need to tap very hard, just lightly. I don't want you to be bruised, okay? Just lightly. That works just fine. Okay? So now we've got two parts of it. We've got joint forces and glory. We've got the tapping. We've got the music. And there's one other piece that helps. Okay? Imagine that you have a couple of rings that are going through your body like this. So you remember those magician rings? You know, remember those big rings that they go like this on? Just imagine that there's a couple of rings in your body that are like this that actually go outside of your body. They're going in and coming together and pulling apart.
From tip to toe, from toe to...
No, from about here to here. So big rings, about like that. And just imagine that those rings are coming together, just like a magician's rings. And then they might come apart again during this process. Coming together, pulling apart. Coming together, pulling apart.
Is it like a slinky?
Not really. Yeah, more like that.
Okay.
Inside your body?
Yeah.
Is there a certain place they come together?
You don't actually have to imagine it too roughly, just to pretend that somewhere in there they're coming together. Now it turns out that some of you will actually see real rings as this process is going on. You'll see those rings come together, and you'll find that when you try and imagine them to come apart as we go further into the process, it won't come apart. Okay? It's a help to imagine that they're coming together, however. All of this is designed to bring you back into that conception trauma without actually having to go there in your conscious awareness. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay? Good. Imagine that it's like 40 or 50 years ago. And you're a big egg and a little sperm. And you're doing your thing, you get to the egg, and then you implant inside. Okay? And then the head of the sperm opens up and the chromosomes come out, and there's a union between those two. Okay? If at that moment trauma happened, it's imprinted into you. Okay? And what trauma could that be? It could be physical pain. It could be distaste. It could be anger. It could be sadness. It could be unsafeness. It could be a whole scope of things, right? And it could be all of them. Just imagine a car accident. Okay? It could be just like that. You can, if you've ever remembered, if you had those sorts of experience, there's a lot of things that can happen in those few brief instants. Yeah?
I understand conception like that takes about 34 hours.
We're only focused on one particular moment where that's critical to this particular state. Yeah, but you're right. There's a lot that goes on. Okay? Anyway, at this moment that we're interested, it could have gone as smooth as silk, or it could have been disastrous. Now, if it's disastrous, when we start this process of tapping, you'll find that it comes up into the present. You'll get an ache. You'll say, oh, the music is really awful. You might find, I'm feeling so sad, or the pit of my stomach hurts, or that lecturer up in the front his voice is obnoxious. It could be a lot of things, but you'll think of it in the present, because we're in this room, right? And you're not really aware that you're going back to conception. So these symptoms will start to arise in the present. This particular process of the EFT with the tapping will remove the symptoms. Got it? So what do? Do you stop the process and go outside and say, no, I can't take it? Well, that's certainly an option. But you don't get any benefit either. Because what we're trying to do is actually bring up these horrible feelings so that we can get rid of them with this tapping process. Does that make sense? Okay. The only trouble I can imagine is that if the horrible feelings come up and you try and go, well, you know, I want to be in inner peace, so I'm going to ignore the horrible feelings, this process won't work. You actually have to put your attention on the horrible feelings or the discomforts or whatever it is you're experiencing now that's uncomfortable to you for the tapping to work. Okay, let me say that a different way. Just banging on your body is not going to do anything. Okay? It turns out you have to bang on your body while you're actually focused on the issue, the discomfort, to make it go away. Does that make sense? Okay. So in her particular case, say that she started to feel, what was the feeling?
Unsafe.
Unsafe. So say she starts to feel unsafe. The best thing she could do is go, oh good, there's unsafe. I'm going to feel unsafe and I'm going to tap on it and see if I can have it go away. Well, that's what the tapping's for, right? Whoops. Sorry, I just tapped on the microphone. Okay. Do you understand what I'm saying?
So do you keep on tapping until it has passed?
Yes.
So there's no set number of taps?
Exactly. Say you just almost made it into conception perfectly, except for that one little glitch, and you tap it out, and that one little glitch only took about one round of tapping to get rid of. That'd be great. Say you went into that particular conception moment and it was like a car wreck. You know, buses, explosions, who knows what. You know, you may have to do a lot of rounds of tapping to make it go away. Okay? Now there's one other thing. Since you've had this since birth, chances are real good that you'll think it's normal. What do you consider normal? Well, it's something that you've always had, right? What we discovered, and I want to thank Dr. Mary Pellissier, MD, for this, is that you actually have to tap longer than you think you need to. Because when the overt symptoms go away, all the ones that are left over that you've just considered normal need to go away too. Does that make sense? So that's why we say a minimum of a half an hour to do this process. Because we found over and over and over again, people stop too soon. So we're going to go through the process, and we'll do one recording of the Beethoven's Fifth, and then we'll stop and get results. However, how are you going to know if you have the state? Okay? So just imagine for a second that you're yourself, normal consciousness. You do this process, and you get a sense of inner peace. Maybe something you've never experienced before, or maybe something that's familiar to you. Okay? But that isn't really good enough, right? What we want to have is an objective way to be sure that you've gotten the state, or you haven't. Okay? So this is the next part. I'd like you to take your pen and list 4 or 5 different things in your past that are still emotionally traumatic. For those of you who don't have anything in your past that's emotionally traumatic, you might try writing down something that used to be in case you lose the state. Here you go. Thanks. So these are yours. You'll be taking them home with you. Okay. So just, 4 or 5, just so that we can know that if you move into the state of inner peace, that that you're there or not. Well, so what are the issues about? I'm asking you to write your issues down, and I want you to rate them on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being nothing and 10 being the worst possible. Because we're going to use that to measure how much you're into the state. Okay, remember the state in the present means that your past trauma goes away. So we'll stop the music and we'll have you look at your list of traumas and rate them again from 0 to 10. If you're into the state, you'll find that they all become 0. Does that make sense? And if you're not in the state, in fact, if you've made no progress, they're going to be the same. You know, there'll be a 6 here and a 4 there and a 10 there and a 3 there. Okay, but what we find is that people move into the state slowly, so what we tend to find is that the numbers start dropping. Okay? Most of us, we didn't have a big explosion with car wreck and all the rest. We sort of had a halfway problem, you know. It wasn't smooth as silk, but it wasn't really terrible either. And so as we go into this, do the process, it's just sort of, the trauma just sort of dwindles away. Now when we're doing this, I don't want you to think about your traumas. Because the tapping will take away the traumas and then we'll lose our measurement instrument. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I've just asked you to think about pink elephants by writing them down. And now I don't want you to think about those pink elephants anymore. You got it? Because otherwise we don't know if you got into the state or not. Let me give you an example. Say one of your traumas was the death of your mom. And you put it down and it was an 8. Okay? And then we start the process. And I'm asking you, join forces in glory, join forces in glory, join forces in glory, join forces in glory. I want you to be, you know, unconsciously to be that sperm and egg combining again. Instead, you're thinking death of mother, death of mother. Oh, I'd hurt, death of mother. Well, what's going to happen is that when you're done the tapping, you might find that your death of mother pain is gone, but you're not in the state because you got distracted. And then when I ask you, well, check to see if you're in the state or not, you'll say, oh, death of mother is a 0. Well, it's only a 0 because you got rid of it by tapping. But you're not in the state. Do you understand what I'm saying? You fixed one little problem, but you didn't fix the state problem. So write them down and then forget about them until I ask you to remember them. Yeah?
They're the indicators of how well you're doing.
Exactly. They are an indicator of how well you're doing, and I don't want you to wreck those indicators because then we have no way to measure. Does that make sense? All right. Let's start. Just follow me. And turn up the volume. If I can.
Do we need to have our eyes closed?
No, but it's easier. You can watch me though. Is that too loud? Okay. Ready? Start at the eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Back to the eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Back to the eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Back to the eyebrow. Join forces in glory. Join forces in glory. Don't bruise yourselves. Join forces in glory. 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 Back to the beginning. Join forces in glory. 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 forces in glory. Join 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 forces in glory. Back to the eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Back the eyebrow. Forces in glory. Join 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 forces in glory. Back the eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Back the eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Okay, stop for a second. Check your traumas. Rate them from 0 to 10. Okay. So the first round, I don't expect a whole lot. That's fine. So just to review, when we're doing this process, whatever comes up is something you need to tap out. So pay attention to it. If my voice sounds obnoxious, if the music is too loud, if the lighting is bad, if the person next to you smells, whatever it is, focus your attention on it and tap it away, because that's just a symptom of the stuff from the past coming to the present. Does that make sense? Okay? Yeah. Don't try and be spiritual. Yeah. Don't try and be at peace. None of that stuff. You just be stalling the process. Okay? Next thing, don't think about the traumas while you're working, otherwise we lose our measurement instrument. Okay. Did anyone not get a change? Please raise your hands high if you didn't get a change. Okay.
I got some change, but two of mine, well, one of mine actually went up.
That's fine. Yeah, it'll be kind of like that for a bit. Okay. By the way, the people that already have the state, if you're in and out of the state a lot, or even sometimes, this will tend to stabilize it for you. So it's worthwhile just on that basis. Okay. Any other questions? Pretty boring, isn't it? We made it as boring as we could. Okay. All right. So, you ready? Is there anything else? Okay, one more round, about another 6 minutes. Eyebrow, join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow, join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow, join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow, join forces in glory. You can switch sides if you want. Join forces in glory. Doesn't matter. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Forces in glory. Join 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 eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Okay, stop for a second. For the camera, is the camera okay? Would anyone like to say what they're experiencing? How about the rings? Anybody seeing rings?
Yeah, I can, but I can't get them to come together.
Okay. Do you want? Can you get that on your film? Say that again.
I'm experiencing rings, but I can't bring them together.
Okay. So they'll come together naturally if you can see them as you release trauma. Okay. Anyone else?
Mine have come together, and I can't get them apart anymore. And I'm having trouble.
That's good, by the way.
I'm having trouble staying in my body. I'm having to work to stay in my body.
What do you experience staying in your body as?
I'm sorry, say that again?
How do you experience that? Kinesthetically.
It's like dissolution of the body, and so I have to keep being aware of body. Forehead, you know, this is here, this is here, this is here, because I'm going away.
You're in spirit.
Yeah, that can be a consequence of this work occasionally. I didn't mention this, but if you're close to the edge of some other states, this can push you into them.
That's what I'm experiencing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you came here for inner peace and you get a whole bunch of things sometimes. Okay, anyone else? Again,
Quite a bit of pain. There's different pain
coming up?
coming up.
Good, and you focus on them and then they change? Perfect, that's exactly what's supposed to happen. Can you hear that? Yeah.
I feel numb.
And has anything changed since we started? Okay, 2 questions. First, is English your native language?
Inuktitut is my actual language.
Okay.
English is my
Second language. The reason I'm asking is we found that people, English isn't the first language, often have to translate the phrase into their native language before the process will work. At this time we only have Spanish and Israeli. So the translation has to be fairly accurate. So that's a bit of a problem. In other words, you can't change the phrase and expect to get it to work. So you might want to try in the next round using Inuit for that phrase.
Yeah. But this is nothing new to me about this emotional stuff, workout.
Right.
I've been up in Southern Leyland, Nanaimo,
Mm-hmm.
where it's a native treatment center, where there was a lot of emotions involved.
Right.
So I don't know if I just numbed out because of that or
Well,
confused.
I don't know, but how's your trauma list? Is it going down or staying the same?
Well, the trauma's still there.
Same amount?
Yeah.
Same numbers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the process isn't working. For you, we have special stuff. So if you'll put a drop of this, say on that part of your hand, here, you can do it yourself. You have to be careful with this. If you get it in your eyes, it stings like crazy. So be sure you don't.
It's nothing new to me.
This way is actually to go like that. Yeah. Okay.
Both hands.
Yeah, you can lump them. Okay. Okay, and that one?
I've gone through a lot of physical abuse. Would that be a contributing factor?
Maybe, maybe not. I'll check one other thing first. Is anyone else having troubles getting their numbers to go down? I mean, you're not supposed to be making them go down. They're supposed to go down by themselves, right? Yeah. If not, we'll use some of this on you.
And where do you put that? Just on this hand?
Oh, well, actually, we're supposed to use it on the acupressure points.
All of them?
Well, it helps, but this one's at least one of them. And you could maybe even on the back of your hand, because there's a bunch of them that come through there. Yeah, like that. Anyone else? If you think you need a little boost, this should help. Okay?
I can smell it from over here.
Yeah.
Everything helps,
Yeah. The next question is, we found that people who do this process and don't seem to be getting much result, it's because they have a dominant issue in their life. Something big is up for them. Okay? And what we found, though, is that if they do this process, even though it doesn't seem to work, and then they go ahead and use tapping or any of the other techniques to get rid of their big issue, they fall into the state. So it's their natural state now once that other stuff's out of the way. Very, very handy. So that means after this workshop, if you're still not getting results, we need possibly to work one-on-one so we can get rid of, if that's the reason, the big issue. Do you understand what I'm saying? Was that clear? Yeah. Yeah.
Is it extra powerful with this many people, or
Yes.
you can still generate the amount of energy by yourself?
Apparently so. When we first started, I just gave the instructions on the phone to individuals working at home in their living room, on their easy chair. Yeah, and it worked okay. Yeah. Okay, so make sure you don't get it in your eyes. It'll hurt like crazy. So, and you need both. So again, it's juniper essential oil and spearmint essential oil. Okay. Most people don't need it. This is just for the few people that seem to be stuck. It does seem to help. So in your case, what do you think your Inuit phrase would be for join forces in glory?
Ilagirnet. Bukehak ningilo tamakwa. Ataniyo.
Okay? Join forces in glory. May I suggest that on the next 6 minutes, you just say that. And you can, it's a long phrase, so you can just go along the points as you're saying it. Do you understand what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. So you won't be able to do it at each point, but just kind of do it as you're doing the points. Okay? Good. So again, you don't need to visualize the rings. It's just an aid. Is there any other questions so far?
Is that tape actually 6 minutes long?
Yeah.
It's like, gone.
Okay. Anyone else?
Time distortion.
So again, whatever comes up, how many people thought the music was obnoxious?
Sometimes I did.
Yeah.
Sometimes you irritated me, and sometimes the sound of the group irritated.
Exactly.
And sometimes I felt out of control.
Good.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's supposed to happen.
I was feeling some tension in the body, facing my head here.
Right. Did it go away as you tapped?
It did get later, yeah.
Good. So you focus on whatever comes up, even though it looks like it's in the present, and tap on that.
For Donna, yeah, I think this is kind of different.
How it started
How
or
you
what
saw.
I'm seeing? I'm
Yeah.
seeing, I felt like I was seeing purple energy.
Mm-hmm. Inside
The
yourself?
second here, that was after the second 6 minutes.
Right. Inside yourself or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. So there's a lot of stuff that can come up. We keep going because we're kind of working through layers. Does that make sense? Layers that we've had our whole life, so we don't even know a lot of them are there. Ready? Anybody else? Good. There we go. Okay. Ready? Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Forces in glory. Join 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 forces in glory. Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Jawbrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Okay? Great. For the camera, if anyone would be willing to share what they've experienced so far? Anyone else?
Well, I found everything irritating this time. The music, the voices, I could feel tension in my back. And although I did see my rings joined and in real pure white.
Yep. Great. Anyone else be willing to share for the camera? Because there's other people that are having your experience on the video who are watching. And it's reassuring to know that whatever's happening, like a little change or a lot of change, or the feelings that you've had are normal. So.
Why were those phrases used, join forces in glory? The phrases, join forces in glory, why were they used? Or who came up with those phrases?
Right. It turns out the phrase is an exact translation into English of a process that your egg and sperm are going through as they join. And it's, in a way, no, actually, well, how can I put this? Just imagine that every plant, every cell, every organism in the entire planet is speaking to you, and it's saying those words. and when you're in utero, as the egg and the sperm are coming together, and you're supposed to understand what it means and do it. Yeah. So in a sense, we actually call it Gaia commands in our work, because they're commands on what to do. Yeah. So that you're healthy. Yeah.
I had the image of my parents' union and I felt very joyous about it.
Good. Any other changes or any other experiences?
No, it's a really slight headache.
Okay. Oh yeah, watch out you don't bang yourself too hard. You can see if you keep doing this after a while, you're going to have bruise spots. So you got to be light about it.
I felt nauseated, almost ready to throw up, and my legs got really heavy.
Mhm.
And then as I kept going through it, my legs stopped doing that heavy feeling, and the nausea started to leave.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Anyone
I
else?
felt nauseated too. The circles did come together and locked very firmly and kept focusing on what was joined, not on the whole circle, but just focusing on that joint point. I felt really sick, but now I've got a lot of pain through my diaphragm actually.
Right. Again, remember this stuff that comes up from the experience, 40 or 50 years ago? Yeah. Even though it feels like it's right now. Anyone else?
I felt a kind of sadness, but it's the kind of sadness that you have. I was just so overwhelmed by the fact that this music was chosen. It has great significance to me, and like I wanted to cry, but I can't. But I'm crying in overwhelmingness, not difficult to explain. And then it dissipated. The sadness
Went away?
Yeah.
Good. It's exactly it. It's perfect. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. You ready for another round? Anyway, by the way, who has gotten to 0 on all of your traumas? Anyone?
Do we have time to check?
Well,
I didn't check.
Mine.
Oh, we haven't checked?
We have-
Okay, check your list. Was there any change this time? Okay. We've also found that occasionally it's helpful if someone else does the tapping, unless they find that that's even more difficult for them. So on the next round, do you mind if I do some of the tapping on you? Okay. It's a little bit sometimes like juggling. If you're trying to remember where the spots are, it totally distracts you from paying attention to the train wreck that's happening inside of you, you know? So. And you had a comment?
Well, when I tried to find something that would bring up emotion before, there wasn't anything, so they started as zeros, but now they just seem downright ridiculous that they ever concerned me at all.
Right. Good. And we find this. People move into the 0 state of no trauma feeling, but as they continue, they go deeper. It gets more anchored into their body and stuff starts peeling away that they thought was normal. Right? Does that fit your experience?
Well, that could be. That made sense when you said that people would stop tapping too soon because they accepted a certain kind of mediocre state as the norm. And so I'm certainly ready to keep tapping.
Thank you.
My sinuses are opening up.
Yeah. That's the other thing about this process that we want to make a video for. We want to find out how many other issues go away with this particular state.
Because that could be the aromatherapy round too.
Yeah, it could be. Could be.
I got all zeros. I think I'm zeroed out.
Anyone else go to 0?
I tried, when I filled it up, I tried to get those emotions back that I had, and it was very difficult, but now it's really easy. It's just like not an issue at all anymore.
Ah.
I can't even bring them up to think about them. The trigger initials I used won't even trigger anything because I've forgotten what one of them was.
Good. Yeah. Good. All right. Are you ready for another round? Okay. Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Right there. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Should we do just another round straight in? Another round? Okay, let's keep going. Got it. Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Eyebrow. Join forces in glory. 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 Okay, rate your traumas. 0 to 10. Maybe we made this process too boring. Yeah. Would anyone be willing to talk about any physical or emotional sensations that have come up in the last rounds?
Emptying. I just felt a real emptying out, to the point where I didn't feel the need to continue through the motions,
Mhm.
and I just felt like I just needed to energetically support the group.
Okay.
Yeah.
I felt a kind of joy, a little bit different than Josie's, I think, but it was co-creating, a sense of co-creating, especially with the music. Breathing, ta-ta-ta-ta, ta-ta-ta-ta. And I found myself trying to be, well, the joy of being in time with the music and almost tapping out the rhythm. That's why I could go on, because it was like playing music, but just having the rhythm bit. Sometimes it was out of sync, and that was a bit annoying, but then it didn't really matter. And when you explained about the sperm and the ovary, I thought before we started, it says conscious conception. I mean, when you become aware of these circles coming together as one. Anyway, that's the thought that came to me is
Good.
conscious conception.
Yeah, well, that's a good way to put it. If you feel the annoyance come up again when you go out of sequence, be sure to tap on that. So focus on it, because that'll be a symptom of the process. Yeah. It's often, it fools people sometimes, because you think it's about what's happening here. It just, the feeling comes up and it's just, well, you understand. Anyone else like to share? Yeah.
Well, I just feel really relaxed and peaceful now. And in the beginning, I was so focused on doing it at the right moment, and what if they see me on tape messing up, and then at the end, it didn't really matter anymore.
That's why we call it the inner peace process. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else? Remember, this will be helpful to the people watching this on TV. How are you doing? Is there any change?
Still nothing.
Okay. So I think if you'd be willing, we'll work after everyone else is finished and see what we can do.
Sure.
Okay. It's a good point. This process won't work for everyone. It just works for what we hope is the majority of people.
Well, I'd like to clarify one thing. It's not the language barrier that I'm having a problem with. Like you mentioned earlier, that if there's big issues coming up, I already revealed it to my significant other just a few days ago, prior to coming here. So I revealed something that I did not deal with in a lot of issues that I dealt with in the past. And I kept this one secret for years.
Right. May I make
maybe, beg your pardon?
Yeah. May I make a suggestion? Remember I said sometimes this work is blocked by a big issue? So on the next music, what I do is just focus on that issue and tap to it.
No, I tried, but still nothing.
Still nothing, okay. So it sounds like individual work would be needed. Yeah. Any other comments from anyone? Let me put it this way. Does anyone not have zeros? In other words, anyone not all the way to zero? 1, 2, 3. That's it? 4. Okay. And that's okay. And are they going down, or are they staying the same?
Going down.
Okay, good. Remember, don't think about them during the tapping. We don't want to lose them. We want to make sure that you have something that you can measure the state with. Does that make sense? Yeah. So don't think about pink elephants, please.
I find it's really hard to measure, like to even get a sense of it. You know, in terms of numbers, it's like, it's really hard for me to compute that somehow.
Yeah. The numbers are sort of irrelevant in a way. I'm just looking for what it was and is it going down. And numbers are helpful to people in that respect, but not every people.
And I guess too, it's just because it's thinking about the emotion rather than experiencing it, and we're just thinking about the emotions, and so there's a separation already. And so it's hard for me to get a sense of how connected I am to the emotion when I'm just thinking about it rather than actually feeling it.
Well, if this process works, you'll find you can't feel it. I mean, even if you try. Yeah. Does that make sense? So if you picked one, could you actually feel it if you tried?
Yeah, that's what I've been doing, yeah.
And you can still feel it?
Well, even when we started, even before we started the process, I
Mhm.
found that trying to think about it was because I wasn't in that state of feeling it. You know, I don't know where I came up with my conception of what number it was affecting me to.
Right, right. Well, again, it's more of a measure of how emotional you feel about it. For example, if you think about that car, that beautiful car that just got wrecked, and then you can feel the tears starting to well up. That would be that feeling of tears and sadness inside.
That's connected with the thought.
Yeah. So I'm just looking for that feeling. I don't care about the thought so much.
So if feelings don't come up around the thought,
Then it's working. Yeah, for example, like I was telling you about the Gary Craig, the inventor of EFT, he could think about his divorces, no problem. Just like I can think about what's the capital of Saskatchewan. But he couldn't feel anything about it.
But then again, they're not being triggered either. It's just we're being asked to think about it, which is not a trigger.
True. But there's usually, for average people, just thinking about stuff for a minute or two causes it to come up normally. Isn't that true? Yeah. But not everyone. You might be close to the state anyway. It might be hard for you to actually access the emotions.
Well, not when they're being triggered.
Okay. Here's something. Can you think of a trigger? Someone said something just recently that set you off?
I suppose I could.
That would work. That'd be a way to check.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. Well, thank you so much for coming up with this stuff, because people on the screen are must be going, oh, that's me. You know? Right, are we ready for the next round? How's your bruises?
That's the other thing I noticed. At first I was really tacking hard on myself.
Yeah.
And then as the process went, I noticed that there were times where I wasn't as hard.
Good.
And, but that was okay, like it didn't matter. It was just that there was kind of a different rhythm to it. A different energy is the word.
Yeah. Good. And since we're doing this over and over and over, light tapping is really required. Okay.
Doesn't matter how the rest of our body is positioned, does it?
Not on this one.
Ah, some people say don't cross your legs, don't do this.
No, not for this one.
Comfort.
Yeah. Easy chair would be great. Yeah. Does anyone need a pee break?
I do.
Anyone else?
We'll wait.
Was that on the video?
Okay. Anyone else have a change in the last couple of rounds?
One of the issues that I have to deal with is in the present. And so it started out at 8 and now it's at 1. The other ones are at 0. And there was a real sense of joy. Suddenly it was just like, I almost felt like I could fly.
Yeah. Good. And would you say what you said again?
Yeah, I picked my paper up and I was looking at it and I thought, that's all in the past. It just felt irrelevant to me, all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and my comment was that unless you're in the state, just saying to someone, well, that's in your past, just forget it, doesn't help. But when you're close to the state or in the state, then it makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Yeah, these were big for me because we were talking about some of these things driving out here, and I was really emotional about these things.
Right.
Yeah, teary.
Yeah. Did anyone notice a shift or a change from that?
Probably I did, because I stopped when I say the words and just join in the singing, you know, the words into it, I think. Just let the sound sing itself instead of saying words. Just word shift. Yeah.
It was the first time I saw the rings.
Ah.
And they were coming together and going apart like they were breathing, like they had life in them.
Good. The coming apart means that your state isn't stable yet, because they're supposed to come together and stay linked. I was asking you to see blink and unlink because eventually they should just come together, and if you see them unlinking, that kind of was a way to force it apart to show that you weren't
Well, they weren't
really
coming
locked in.
apart that way, like they were like, you know how those rings that you put together?
Mhm.
They were stayed together, but they kind of came, like it was like they
Oh, they were moving with each
were
other.
moving with each other.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Like they weren't separating, but it was like they had, it like, kind of almost, I guess, if you want to imagine it, like those sperm and the egg when they come together and life is in there and then they start to breathe together, like, you know, create. So that's how it felt, like that's the.
Good. Good. And, yeah.
I'm sorry. Earlier, you were tapping for Harry, right, while he was saying the thing. So if you were to do this with someone,
Right.
could you actually hold it there for them?
Yes.
And they would have to be saying
Yes.
the phrase?
Yes.
I had an interesting insight about this joining of the rings. That when two circles come together, where they come together forms the vesica Pisces, right? Which is a symbol in sacred geometry that also was used to represent Christ. The fish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's kind of funny that she says that because this had a completely different effect on me physiologically. Using this TAT pose, I wanted to close my eyes again, the opposite of how it was at the end before, using the EFT. And then I immediately shifted into an altered state and felt swirls through my head. And then I went to Hawaii, to a place where there were dolphins. So that's why I said it was kind of funny. And all I could see was this beautiful blue water and the dolphins and everything. So.
Because Pisces is oceanic. Interesting.
So.
Good. Anyone else? Okay. Then the next one we're going to do as a diagnostic, just to make sure that. Oh, by the way, did you hear my instruction that I've forgotten is to try and feel as happy as possible?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Good. The next one what we're going to do is a left-right balancing thing that's part of the EFT process, but we usually skip it for this procedure. And I just want to try it with you to make sure that there isn't something hanging out just because of that. Okay? It goes like this. You tap at the back of your hand, I don't care which hand, in that little region between two ridges that are made by tendons of your pinky and your ring finger. Okay? So right there. They call it the gamut point, G-A-M-U-T, gamut. Okay, so just tap lightly there. And as you're doing that, you hold your head straight, look forward, and you start saying the words, join forces in glory. I'll do this in a moment with music. And I'm going to then have you look down to the right, look down to the left, make a big circle with your eyes. Make a circle the other direction. And then just hum. Probably happy birthday would be simple. That's what we normally use, like happy birthday to you. So you can't say the phrase during that part. And then count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then happy birthday again. Happy birthday.
Hum or words?
Words or hum, it doesn't matter. Okay. Whatever's easy for you. And we'll do that twice. And then we'll stop. Yeah.
I bet it does make a difference, because I think if you're humming, I mean, the purpose of that is to go back and forth between the two sides of the brain, right?
Correct.
And if you start singing it with words, wouldn't that incorporate the left brain when the humming might just be more right? Because don't you hum the happy birthday and then count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you go back to the humming to switch back?
We haven't found that it makes much difference, but it's a good idea.
I have no idea what you just said.
Okay. So are you ready? So start tapping the gamut point. Okay. And I'm going to say, repeat after me, join forces in glory. Sing it. right. Look down to the left. Make a big circle with your eyes. Make a circle the other way. Okay, now happy birthday. Now count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now happy birthday, Dad. Okay, one more time. Join forces in glory. Now look down to the right. Now look down to the left. Make a big circle. Make a big circle the other way. Happy birthday. Count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Happy birthday. Stop. So I'm asking, does anyone still have some charge left? Anyone, no one feels a little bit iffy about their stuff? You're welcome to think about other traumas. It should work. I just had you pick those just to test, but think about all of them.
Should be overall.
Yeah, how's your past? It should look pretty like boring in a way. About the same amount of.
What past?
Yes.
It's hard to go to the past because it really is bringing me into the moment, and so it's hard to even think of the past.
That's what it's supposed to do. Yeah. Remember I was telling you about the gentleman who said, well, there's nothing much happened in my past. But when you actually grilled them, there was all kinds of deaths, divorces, horrible thing. It's because it has no emotional traumas in the present. Yeah. Wow. Have I worn you out? Well, thank you for viewing this video. If you don't think you're complete, just rewind and run through the tapping stages as many times as you feel you need. Remember, go past having your traumas go to 0. Make sure that you're even further into the state, and so that it stays more tightly into your body. And there's many ways to do this process, and with this experience of what inner peace feels like, hopefully, I hope that you'll be interested in perhaps improving this or finding out completely new ways to move people into this as well as other peak states of consciousness. Any comments you want to make to whoever's watching this film?
I really had a sense of co-creation. That kept coming to me. Co-creation. And Barbara Marx Hubbard says we're in that time of co-creating.
Yeah.
So thank you for the opportunity to give us the words and that wonderful music.
My experience, my personal experience in the state of peace.
From this workshop?
From this workshop.
Yeah.
Is about truly being in the present, in this moment, so that the past actually, well, I know doesn't exist. I'm not even thinking about dinner. There is only the here, there is only the now. And from all evidence, all things are right and perfect. So, I'm peaceful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, is that different?
How is it different?
From your normal state?
Well, I have to say that I just came back from 10 days meditation, of course, so...
But before that?
Before that, a lot more mind chatter. A lot more of the rolling thoughts beforehand, and the rolling thoughts go away. Which brings me to the present.
Okay. You're welcome.
It feels like continuity.
I'll give you a ride.
Okay. It's okay. Thank you so much.
Is something really up for you now? Like something in your life that's just huge?
Yeah.
Good. Would you be willing to heal it right now on the spot? Okay. Take the flat of your hand.
Yes, and I'm grateful that I'm no longer numb, nor raging or angry, or hurt or feeling betrayed, or violent self-violence, mutilations and all that. It's like, it's not there no more. Instead I feel joyous.
You said you felt peaceful too?
Peaceful, yes. I'm grateful. I'm just grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you for watching this video. I want to thank people in the Institute for the Study of Peak States for developing these processes. Wes Geets, Dr. Diola Perry, Dr. Marie Green, Dr. Mary Pellissier, Dr. Adam Wasso, Preston Howard, and all the other volunteers over the years that have helped so much in developing these processes. Thank you, and have a good night.